Now, consider these words of the U.S. President very carefully.
There's no talking to the Taliban. We don't want to talk to the Taliban. We're going to finish what we have to finish. What nobody else has been able to finish, we're going to be able to do it.
Spoken just earlier this week during a meeting with the UN Security Council in New York. It came after the Taliban suicide attack in Kabul over the weekend, which killed more than 100 people. It may have weighed on President Trump's mind, and his words do suggest a determination to handle it differently this time around. Read with a document released on Tuesday night by the Trump administration, it confirms a view that the U.S. government may be preparing to crack down on terror safe havens in Pakistan, something that no U.S. administration in the past has ever attempted. So here's what the document says, quote, President Trump's conditions-based South Asia strategy provides commanders with the authority and resources needed to deny terrorists the safe haven they seek in Afghanistan and Pakistan, end quote. But a day later, U.S. diplomats rushed to inform the media that there was no change in strategy. What the president said only indicated ground realities. Deputy Secretary of State John Sullivan said that conditions currently don't lend themselves to talks. He also noted, quote, we have made clear to the Pakistani government our expectations for them to take action against terrorists that are in sanctuaries in Pakistan to reduce the pressure and the threat of violence in Afghanistan, end quote. So is the U.S. trying to dissimulate as it has done so in the past? Is it backing off from any action against Pakistan in the form of a strike on terror havens there or on terrorist individuals? There are obviously risks to be factored in when hitting Pakistan. For instance, will Islamabad stop the flow of supplies through Pakistan to U.S. troops in Afghanistan? Pakistan could also cease all intelligence cooperation with the U.S. Pakistan may seek to use China as leverage against Washington. Many in India are skeptical about the U.S.'s intentions vis-a-vis Pakistan. The sense is that while Washington is frustrated and angry over Pakistani support of terror groups, it will not want to break up a relationship built over 5 decades. Others say the U.S. may step up drone strikes in Pakistan against select Haqqani and Taliban targets. It may not resort to any kind of operation involving commandos on the ground. That eliminated, for instance, Osama bin Laden. And the U.S. is certainly not going to target Hafiz Saeed of the Lashkar-e-Toiba since his focus is Kashmir. Joining me on the broadcast right now is WION's senior editor, Surya Gangadharan. Surya, that report we just played out for our viewers in many ways indicates India's concerns that if the U.S. does even consider some sort of strike in Pakistan, it will most likely be directed towards what it calls problematic for the United States itself, but not people like Hafiz Saeed or Masood Azhar, who are India's prime targets.
In fact, I would put it to you, why should the U.S. be bothered about Hafiz Saeed when he is not threatening them in any way? In fact, we should be bothered about Hafiz Saeed, and since Hafiz Saeed is in our own backyard, we should be concerned about him and what he is doing to us and be more proactive when it comes to dealing with him. For that matter, even with Afghanistan, which is in India's backyard, why should the U.S. come from all across so many continents to fight the Taliban here? This is something that we should be doing. I think privately that's what the U.S. has been telling us.
Fair enough. But Surya, if I can also ask you, in terms of the rhetoric, we've seen an uptick, so to speak, from the United States towards Pakistan. If it has absolutely no reason to be involved vis-a-vis people like Hafiz Saeed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, then why mention them at all? Why bring up, Pakistan's failure to respond despite years and years of aid? That was the president's very first tweet at the start of this year.
No, I think the point is the U.S. policy works on many parallel tracks, At one point, there is, on one track is the Afghanistan-Pakistan axis where the U.S. has troops there and therefore concerns are immediate and are continuing. The other track is the diplomatic sanctions it has imposed against Hafiz Saeed and other people, And that's an ongoing thing. It's not high priority. It keeps India happy, because you go around to the UN and say, well, we are proscribing these guys, so the Indians are happy. It keeps us on the same plate, and it keeps us still wanting more from the US and keep listening to the US. So that's diplomacy. It's how the US plays its cards. But their priority and their preoccupation is Afghanistan, their troops there, the Haqqani network and the Taliban.